We're going to see how this thing works today. It's Bruno Biava once again, and in this video, or chat, we're going live and we're going to be discussing mobile home ownership and how to avoid the pitfalls of it. But before we do, let's take a look around this morning and just see how beautiful it is. As you can see behind me, the dawn is beginning to break, and of course, well, gee whiz, that's a street light, isn't it? Yeah. But you can see the morning star and the sun starting to rise. We're anticipating absolutely beautiful weather here. Absolutely beautiful. And let's walk over here for a second. And fortunately, we didn't all get blown away yesterday afternoon and evening. The wind was kind of up there for a while. And we've gone ahead and we've changed our flags back to the way they should be. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful morning. But let's get down to brass tacks. And because I'm kind of self-conscious of being on screen, sometimes I get to be a little shy. And I don't want you to focus so much on me, because I want you to focus on what I'm going to say. I'm going to go ahead and create a black screen, and you can listen to the conversation and not be distracted by the sounds or the sights around me. And of course, you won't be distracted by my ugly mug either. So there. So here we go. Now, today is the 17th of May, 2025. It's approximately 1000 hours UTC, which means here in Illinois, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. And I live in a mobile home and have now for approaching 15 years. The first thing that you should probably consider before you own a mobile home is that, when you buy one, unless you actually own the land that's beneath it yourself, it is not a good investment whatsoever. Mobile homes are not regarded by banks as real estate. Mobile homes are, in effect, chattel. Let me have a second here, so I'm going to go ahead and fire up a cigarette. The mobile homes are regarded as chattel by financial institutions. They are akin to automobiles. Simply put, you can buy a brand new mobile home. You can order a custom-made mobile home. And once you take possession of it, and it is driven off the lot of towed off the lot of the dealership, it immediately plummets in value. All right. And then once it's placed on its supporting structure, because it will need a supporting structure, whether it be anything from cinder blocks to a foundation. And I've seen some pretty elaborate foundations under a mobile home, but not in mobile home parks I haven't. It still continues to lose value. So, you can see, it looks like a good deal on the surface, but it is not. It is a money pit for an owner, especially if you intend to live in it yourself and live in it on somebody else's property. So there's the first thing you want to consider, all right? Unless you've got deep pockets and just want to throw money away, don't buy a mobile home. Number two, FEMA, and FEMA may or may not exist in the future, we just don't know about that. But FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, doesn't regard mobile homes or some manufactured homes as permanent dwellings. They're basically viewed as temporary dwellings. So, should a disaster strike, such as wildfire, severe weather, including tornadoes or high winds, or earthquakes, or floods, residents of mobile homes are not, how can I put it, they're not covered by FEMA regulations, and they're not entitled to any benefits such as disaster aid or relief from the United States government. And this is also true in some states. So yeah, sure, the Red Cross might show up and distribute donuts after a disaster, but FEMA is not going to help you get reestablished. Oftentimes, after a federal disaster, FEMA will step in and provide grants, or the government will come in and provide grants, or even outright gifts to homeowners that are affected, or possibly even renters in apartment buildings or condominiums that are rented and are affected by a disaster. But mobile homeowners, no. They are regarded as temporary dwellings. That's it. So you're on the out. All right. Number 3. Here's another thing to consider. Typically, a mobile home is placed in a mobile home park. In the past, and it's getting to be longer and longer ago, most mobile home parks were mom and pop operations. They were locally owned. They were typically owned by a family, and the family kind of operated something like a benevolent kingdom. They took care of the maintenance, of the roadways. They took care of the maintenance of the physical plant, meaning the sewers, the water, the electrical utilities, the gas utilities, any utilities, including cable. These things were generally taken care of by the benevolent owners. That is not the case anymore. As these owners have relinquished control of their mobile home parks, they are being taken over by corporations. And these corporations are limited liability corporations. And what they do is they structure these corporations and delegate out responsibility for the mobile home parks to management companies, and the management companies in turn delegate out maintenance to other companies. So there then becomes multiple levels, which are fluid and constantly changing, multiple levels of responsibility of individuals and corporations that you're going to encounter and have to end up chasing in order to affect any changes that you would desire, or any maintenance that needs to be done, or simply put, if you feel like you've been mistreated and you want to retain an attorney, they're going to have to go through all this mess. And it's basically a shell game. It's not real pretty. So you got to think about that. And this is what happens either once you've bought a mobile home and placed it in a mobile home park, or if you bought a mobile home already existing in a mobile home park. These things still apply. So my advice there is, don't. You're better off removing that level of frustration by going and just simply renting an apartment or renting a condominium. Because what you get when you move into a mobile home park is all the responsibilities of home ownership with the added complications of what are in effect homeowner association, an absentee landlord, an absentee management company, and questionable at best practices of the local contractors that you may have to come in to maintain your mobile home, such as installing a new roof, repairs to your awnings or to any of the skirting or anything like that that you need to have, and by regulations in some states must have around your mobile home, your plumbing, all these things, and they are just absolutely deuce difficult to work with, particularly here in southeast Illinois where the weather is so extreme. The other thing is mobile homes are susceptible to damage by insects and rodents. Let's face it. Simply put, there's a big open space under your mobile home, all right? And there are termites that can eat their way through the wood structure in a mobile home over time. There are rodents such as rats, mice, that actually gnaw away at the underpinning of a mobile home. We're not talking about the skirting. We're talking about the insulation under your floor. Their sense of smell is so incredible that you could, and if you cook well like I do, they're attracted to that. And you will find yourself with rodents and insects. Sooner or later, it will happen. Particularly if you buy an older mobile home. If you buy a brand new one, you might avoid that for a few years, but it will happen. Another thing you have to consider is the climate that you're going to put it in. If you're going to put it in a hot, dry climate, well, things might not be so bad, provided that you have a light-colored roof and that sort of thing. If you're going to put it in a cold climate, well, generally mobile homes that are going to cold climates are well insulated and have adequate heating and air conditioning units. Mobile homes here in southeast Illinois encounter some of the roughest weather that they can possibly encounter. We get extremes of both high and cold here. And, not to mention, the wind. So, anywhere around here, you're going to want a mobile home that's built like a tank. You don't want an older one. Or you don't want one that's been refurbished. Because, simply put, just like a car or a truck, they begin to degrade, and they literally begin to fall apart. They weaken. In each storm, in each earth tremor that we get around here, and we get those, in each sunrise and sunset, they expand and contract, and they are stressed by these expansions and contractions just from going from night to day. It's not like a house, not at all. A house is built upon a foundation. A mobile home is not. Now, another thing you want to think about. Well, it's a mobile home. If I don't like it, I can move, right? Well, think about this. We discussed the situation about Lori and Mark in a previous video, all right? Let's say you move into a mobile home. You've got ownership of it. And you decide you don't like it here. Where are you going to move it to? Another mobile home park. Well, if you don't like it where you're in, chances are you're not going to like it where you're going. Because, simply put, you're moving into another corporate-owned mobile home park. Think about it. Once you're here, once you're in this loop, there's no way out. Mobile home park owners and the management companies simply regard mobile home tenants, because that's how they see us. We're tenants. We're not owners to them. We're tenants. They simply regard us as something to generate money with, so that they can live a high life. On top of that, they make it awfully inefficient, because they delegate people out, or delegate responsibilities out to different people within their companies. They do that for two reasons. One, they want to insulate themselves from responsibilities that they should take seriously to every tenant and every individual that live under their authority and at their pleasure in a mobile home park. Number two, well, gee whiz. Maybe these people actually know more about this business than we do, so they dumb it down for their own level and respond, they react to other people, or not react, they delegate out responsibilities to other people within the corporations and entrust them. That doesn't always work. That does not always work. And there have been multiple situations in my own life where I've seen such delegation go terribly, terribly wrong, just like it has here. So these are some of the pitfalls that you may encounter, and there's many, many more. Now, in Illinois, there are some laws that help protect mobile home park tenants and also the landlords and owners. Responsibility is delegated out, and these things have to be balanced. You have to understand, though, as a tenant in a mobile home park, if you go to your local jurisdiction, you have to complain by yourself, they don't look at you. You're just one constituent to them, all right? You're talking about the management of a mobile home park that you're having issues with, and just one person having the complaint doesn't go. It just doesn't. You're going to have to go about and canvass your mobile home park, the mobile home park community in which you live, in order to find out if there's enough interest within the community in which you live to pass, or how can I put it, to gather signatures to put on a petition. And then all of you have to go to town council and petition changes or even investigations into the ownership and the operations of the mobile home park. And even then, you're at the pleasure of the local legislature. Could be the city government, and if the city government doesn't take care of it or decides not to, you go to the county government, and they're not going to want to deal with it. The only hope you possibly have is raising the awareness of the Attorney General of the state you live in, and chances are they don't want to deal with it either, because you should have known it's not a good idea to buy a mobile home in a mobile home park, or rent one for that matter. These are common sense things. And you might be wondering why I did it. Well, the mobile home I live in had been my mother's. After she died, my older sister Lucy had the responsibility of disposing of my mother's property. My older sister Lucy also was fighting non-Hodgkin's peripheral T-cell lymphoma. She and her husband had just bought and moved a house, a real house, in the country to property they owned and had established themselves there. They had a great responsibility. But during this time, there were fundraisers being organized to help my older sister, to help her with the financial burdens both her and her husband were going through. She was under a terrific amount of stress. I needed a place to live in. I had read Dave Ramsey's book that she had actually gifted me, One World Ready or Not, where it discussed mobile homes and how they're not a good idea. But I took the plunge anyway. I wanted to help my older sister. Doesn't make me a hero. I think any brother would want to. I think any brother would want to help their sisters, or their brothers for that matter. I know in the grand scheme of it, under God, I did the right thing. But in the world that I live in, financially, it was a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to do. So that's why I did it, folks. I liked Olney back in the day. I still do. There were other ways I could have moved to. In fact, I at one point did actually rent a home, a physical structure. It wasn't much. Things are very expensive around here. This is kind of a desirable area to live in, believe it or not. But in spite of everything I knew, I did it anyway. And I did it because God said to me, Bruno, help your sister. And God says for me to do something. As long as it's within the rules and regulations, meaning the 10 Commandments. And my interpretation of them, which is very conservative, I do. And I have to trust that God will make things right in the end. And I know when my life is over, which shouldn't be too often long now, that he'll make it right. But the days that I live between now and the day God calls me home, they're quite stressful. So I'm making this video, not for me, and not to bring up my personal points, so to speak, but in order to protect you who might be considering either buying a mobile home or moving into a mobile home park. So my advice is don't. Rent if you must. Try to save up a little money. Work hard. Try to save up a little money and actually buy real estate. Don't buy a mobile home. That's it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That pretty much covers everything. And I need to get along. I I got to put together my day, and you have to put together yours, and you're going to have to make some pretty serious decisions here. Don't take this lightly. Consult with an attorney. You might even want to consult with several, especially those who are familiar with real estate law. And definitely consider their advice. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I appreciate the likes that I receive very, very much. Those help not only me, but they also help the algorithm so more people can see, or hear rather, in this case, this video, and may be able to gather wisdom from it. Don't forget that you can also share this video with someone that you may know or love who's starting out in life, or maybe in the later stages in life, and are thinking about either moving into a mobile home park or considering buying a mobile home. These are ways that you yourself can help those you love and help improve the lives of people around you, and that's a good thing. So there you go, kids. Oh, and don't forget, if you want to be if you want to be totally private and remain anonymous on YouTube, you can write to me at the address that I list at the bottom of the description section. Yes, I do read my cards and letters, even though I've never gotten one yet. There's always that potential. But I'm here and I want to try to help. So there we go. And that's it, everyone. Stay safe out there. Good luck and Godspeed. And we'll see you around town.